Today we are going to see one adventurous tale, you can say like that, and it is told by Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia. Okay. So Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. Okay. So expedition is a group of members who will go on a journey. Okay. Here the journey is to Mount Everest in 1965. So how did he feel when he stood on the highest point in the world? So the highest point here refers to the summit. Summit means the peak point of the mountain. So how did he feel? So he is going to tell about that, okay, in this story, in his own words. Climbing the summit and then more difficult task of climbing the summit within. Okay. So there is one more summit. Okay. There is one more mountain which is within ourselves, and what kind of mountain it is and how we can deal with that. Okay. That he is going to tell. Okay, and which mountain or which summit peak is really hard to climb or hard to deal with, that he is going to tell, okay, in this lesson. So the lesson starts like this: of all the emotions which surged through me as I stood on the summit of Everest, looking over miles of panorama below us, the dominant one I think was humility. So what do you understand by this? Of all the emotions which surged through me as I stood on the summit of the Everest. So when I was standing on the summit, highest peak of the Everest, first you have to understand this, okay? Everest itself is the highest peak in the Himalayan range, okay? Himalayan range, there are so many mountains there, okay? In that, the highest peak is considered as a Mount Everest. In that Mount Everest, he is at the summit, which means he is at the peak point of the peak point of the Mount Everest. He is standing on that, okay? And when he was standing on that, and he is looking over the miles of panorama. What do you mean by panorama? Panorama means view of wide area. And he is looking wide area, okay, which is surrounded. The dominant one, I think, was humility. He is having lot of emotions when he was standing on that peak of the summit. Okay. Yes. But there was one emotion which is really dominant one. What do you mean dominant one? Intense one here. Okay. The intense emotion that it has come. Okay. That it has aroused in him. Okay. That emotion is humility. What do you mean humility? Humility means that I am really a small person. Okay. That kind of emotion he is having. Right. The physical in me seemed to say, thank God it's all over. However, instead of being jubilant, there was a tinge of sadness. Was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing and there would be nothing higher to climb and all roads hereafter would lead down? Okay. So once he climbed and he is standing on there, okay, and he is having a mixed emotions, and there are plenty of emotions, but the dominant emotion that he has is humility. He is considering himself as a small person before that huge wide view, before that huge mountain. Of course, everyone will feel like that, right? And now the physical self in me, okay, he is telling the physical self. We already know we are all consist of physical and non-physical, which means mentally, right? So here, the physical self, the body, here physical refers to the body, seem to say, he's saying, thank God, it's all over, right? Because he's climbed the most highest mountain in the world. So obviously the body will say like this, right? It needs some rest, right? Yes. However, instead of being jubilant, what do you mean by jubilant? Jubilant means very happy because that you have succeeded something. So what kind of success that he has succeed right now? That he has climbed the Mount Everest. Instead of being happy that he has achieved something great, he's having, he's really feeling there is a sadness. Why? Because I had already done the ultimate in climbing. There would be nothing higher to climb, and all the roads hereafter would be leading down. I may be sad because from here onwards there is nothing higher than the Mount Everest. Okay, and there is nothing to climb. He already achieved that, and there is nothing to enjoy. Right? Only if you are like achieving great things, then only you will feel very happy and excited, right? And he has done the most the great achievement, you can say like that. And hereafter there is nothing to achieve. So that's why he is feeling sad. What he's going to do? And there would be nothing higher to climb, and all roads hereafter would lead down. Okay, and from here onwards, all he has to do is he has to climb down. Okay, so that's why he may be feeling sad. He's just asking question. Maybe there is nothing to achieve here, or maybe I have to go down from here. So because of these two reasons, I may be feeling very sad. This is what he is feeling right now. Okay, by climbing the summit of Everest, you are wait, by climbing the summit of Everest, you are overwhelmed. What do you mean overwhelmed? Overwhelmed means having a feeling which cannot be controlled. So, what kind of feeling that you will be having when you are climbing the summit of Everest? The deep sense of joy and thankfulness. Why you are feeling thankful? Because no one else has this opportunity. Obviously, you have this opportunity to climb the greatest mountain in the world. So, obviously, you will be feeling very thankful for having this choice, the choice that has been given to you. Okay, so that kind of feeling you will be having, and it will be overwhelming. Okay, it is a joy which lasts a lifetime. Okay, there are plenty of joyful moments that you have came across, but there are certain joyful moments that will be always in your mind. Okay, and it will be last lifetime, and it is one of them. What is that? Climbing the Mount Everest. The experience changes you completely. And he's saying this experience of climbing the mountain will change you completely. The man who has been to the mountains is never being the same again. And he's telling, once you climb the mountain and you're coming back, which means you will not be the same guy. Okay, before you climb the mountain. Okay, that's what he is trying to say. As I look back at life after climbing Everest, I cannot help remarking about the other summit, the summit of the mind, no less formidable and no easier to climb. So now he is looking back at his life. There are a lot of struggles that he has faced, okay, before climbing this mountain. Of course, the climbing this summit is a bigger task. But when he looks back his life, there are a lot of challenges that he has faced, and in order to face those challenges, what is the most important thing is he has to control his mind. That's what he is trying to say here. The summit of the mind, no less formidable and no easier to climb. Okay, he easily dealt the Mount Everest right now, but there is another summit. There is another summit which is no less formidable. Formidable means fierce. Okay, not easy to deal with. So what is that summit? The summit of mind that you cannot deal. Okay, and it is not easier to climb, which means what? It is not easier to control. That's what he is trying to say here. Okay. Even when getting down from the summit, once the physical exhaustion had gone, I began asking myself the question why I had climbed Everest. Why did the act of reaching the summit have such a hold on my imagination? It was already a thing of the past, something done yesterday. Even when he is coming down from the mountain, okay, he is asking himself, why I have to climb this uh, Mount Everest, and why this act of reaching the summit is already in my imagination, why it is having such hold, why it's always in my imagination, in my memory. He is asking this. It was already a thing of the past, it is done, but why is it is still in my mind? Hold here refers to what? It's still staying in my mind. Imagination means what? In his picture, in his memory, why it is still there? He's asking, what is that? The act of reaching the summit. It was already a thing of the past. He came down right now. Still, it is there. Something done yesterday. It is done yesterday. It is done in the past. Yesterday refers to done in the past. With every passing day, which means what? With every continuously going, okay, the ongoing days, it would become more remote. This memory will become more remote, which means what? He's going to forget about that. Okay, remote means what? It will become a distant one. It will not be a close one that he will always remember that. It will become a distant one so that he will forget after some time. Okay, and then what would remain? Would my memories fade away slowly? So that's what he is trying to ask. So after that, what would be remaining in my memory? Okay, would my memories fade slowly away? Whether it will um, become less clear and clear. What kind of memory? The memory of reaching the summit. Whether it will go or not, he is asking. All these thoughts led me to question myself as to why people climb mountains. So we already know he has climbed the mountain, why it has become an important thing in his life, why it is still in his mind, in his memory, why it is there. He's thinking like that. So when he is thinking about that, he came to the point why people have to climb the mountain. Why so it is important. He's thinking about that. Okay. We will discuss this remaining lesson tomorrow.